Einen schönen guten Tag, liebe Eisbären-Fans. Herzlich willkommen zu einem sehr besonderen Interview, denn wir haben einen Spieler bei uns, der seine Karriere beenden wird. Mark Bell, unsere Nummer 17, wird die Eishockey-Schlittschuhe an den Nagel hängen. Ihr habt es vielleicht schon gehört, auch bei der Saisonabschlussfeier wurde er ja schon verabschiedet und wir wollen nochmal mit ihm ein bisschen zurückblicken auf seine doch sehr interessante und beeindruckende Karriere, die er gehabt hat im Eishockey und deshalb sitzt er heute hier und ich freue mich ganz besonders. Herzlich willkommen, welcome Mark Bell.
Thanks, Danny.
Mark, we want to have a look at your really impressive career. We just wanted to talk to you about some points of your career. You were able to play 459 games in the NHL. You played in Switzerland. You played for Team Canada at the World Juniors. You played for Team Canada at some other tournaments. You played in the AHL in the minors. You played in Norway. Even what is the biggest moment, the biggest thing in your career you remember the most?
Wow, that's a touching question. I don't know. I think everyone remembers their first game. The first game in the NHL is pretty special. Mine was in Atlanta, and I think everyone remembers their first goal. So those two individually are something that I will hold dear. As far as a team, I was fortunate enough to win a Memorial Cup, and I think anyone who wins a championship holds those close.
You mentioned like three things I want to talk in more depth with you about. Let's start chronologically with that Memorial Cup you just mentioned in 1999 to win the Canadian Junior League. That was, it's always like a real tough playoff run and a long one, and it was pretty special, I guess.
Yeah, it was really good. We had a bunch of injuries earlier on in the playoffs, and actually we were hosting the tournament, so we were in the tournament regardless, and we had a bunch of injuries and guys going down, and we ended up getting put out of the playoffs, but then we practiced for 4 or 5 weeks, and then came and had a really strong tournament, and we played against a really tough Calgary Hitmen team in the finals, and won a high-scoring 7-6 game in overtime in Ottawa, and yeah, it was really, really special to win it in the place where I spent 4 years, and yeah, to be like I said, when you win the championships, you always remember them, and you always remember the guys that you were with.
You had a special coach in that time. Is that somebody that really put some things to you that you took with you, or didn't he leave that impression?
He left many impressions, but the one thing I will take away is that you got to have fun with the game, and obviously playing for Brian Kilray, you got tough skin. You learned how to play your best hockey, and he got the best out of us, and you don't realize what you take away from Killer when you're there, you're in it and you're playing, but when you leave there, then you realize how much he did for you.
Would you say he was one of the reasons you got drafted in '98? And that's another point I wanted to ask you about. You've been drafted from the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round. Was it a big show back then, and was it such a big deal like it is today?
Yeah, I mean, it was the draft was, there's lots of media and lots of stuff surrounding the draft, but I don't think it's as big as it is now, obviously, but yeah, I think getting back to your question, I think Brian definitely had an integral part of me getting drafted, and yeah, Chicago was a great spot to go, and I got a lot of playing time and lots of. I won't get into those. I'm sure you have questions, so I'll go into that later.
Okay, before going to Chicago, you played the World Juniors under 20s. Exceptionally, Canada didn't win gold. You had to win only the bronze medal, but was it a special experience for you?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a special experience to represent Canada. For me, it was my first time, and it was really special. We were in Skellefteå, Sweden, and it was quite a tournament, and we ended up losing 3-2 to a really good Russian team. But then we rebounded and won the next day in the bronze medal game against the U.S. I think it was actually in a shootout. So. Close game, but I think bringing home the bronze, it was pretty bittersweet. But I think as time passed, we realized how special it is to actually win a medal at such a prestigious tournament.
In 2000, you just mentioned it, in Atlanta, there was December 13, I think, in 2000, 13 as your number of luck. You played your first NHL game. How was it? What was it like?
It was kind of a whirlwind. I think, like any other player, I was in Norfolk in the American League at the time, and I got the call, and just it was adrenaline from there. Basically, get on the plane and go and play, it was. I remember that. I don't know why you always remember your first game, but I got sent out for the extra attacker. We were down, I think 4-3, and I got sent out for the. We didn't end up scoring, but that was something that I always remembered. And I got a little taste that season, and it was full time next year. So.
Next year. There you go. Perfect, Mark. Thank you very much. It took till October 21st in the 2001-2002 season until you scored your first goal. I think it was a home game against Colorado, and it was against some pretty good goaltender.
Yeah, it was. It took me a while. I had a bunch of assists, but I felt like I was playing well, obviously, and I was there. I was on the team, and I was playing well, but I just couldn't score. And I think I remember it. It was Michael Nylander passed me the puck, and I ended up. Eric Daze was my other line mate at the time, and just shot it. It went 5-hole, and. Yeah, against I think one of the best was really quite special. Patrick Roy is obviously a Hall of Famer. So
all in all, you had I think 5 years in Chicago, or 6 almost. Yeah. Do you still remember your Chicago time? And was it like such a good time as it? I mean, to me, if you only look at the stats, it looked like a pretty impressive time for you too.
Yeah, I think at the time Chicago was it's not like it is now. We didn't have a lot of fans at the time, and we were struggling as a team. On the bright side, I was a young player breaking into the league, and I got a good chance to play. And my first couple of years, I was primarily a checker and a third line guy, and then. As I kept trying to move up the lineup, and the last couple of years there, I was more of a scorer, got some power play time, and so obviously put up okay numbers, and then it was a fun time in my life, and I'll always remember that fondly.
Another thing you accomplished, I don't know whether it's an accomplishment for you or not, to play for the biggest Ontario team there is. I don't know whether you've been in Toronto Maple Leafs fan growing up, or whether you were more with the Sens, for example, but you played in that jersey. Isn't that something special too?
Yeah, very special. I mean, you always jump. I was more of I wasn't a loyal fan to any team really growing up. I was always just, I really love the Oilers, but they were always good, so that's probably why I love them. But whoever was good, I kind of jumped on the bandwagon and went and supported them. But it was very special. I mean, living an hour and a half from Toronto growing up was very special, and I'll never forget the time that I spent there.
In the first lockout, you made it to Norway, and you played you had a good playoff run there too. Why did you go to Norway, and what was the feeling like there?
It's a good question. Why Norway? But actually, a friend of mine was playing on the team. A friend from my hometown, essentially, and I went there, and it was getting into late October, I think, and I was doing the same workouts, and it looked like the lockout was going to last quite a while. So I called him, and he said that his sport director would call me the next day or two, and he did, and we talked, and ended up figuring something out, and yeah, I just went there for 4 months, and it was fun. It was actually a lot of fun. We had a good playoff run, and I don't even think the team is in the league anymore. But that was the best finish they've ever had, and it was pretty cool to have. The city was embracing it, and it was a lot of fun.
From Norway to another European team, Kloten in Switzerland. What was the experience to play in Switzerland? Especially, I'd say now looking at the game, you're a pretty physical player, and Switzerland isn't the most physical league.
I was definitely the most physical player in the league. That's for sure. Yeah, you're right. But no, it was. Actually, I went there with a very open mind, and it was, it was a really, I mean, it's Switzerland. It's a really great country, obviously, but at the same time, I worked on all my skills and was very, it was more of a skills thing for me, and not just wanted to work on my skating, my hands, my everything about my game, and work on my game, and try and go back to North America.
After a short stint then in North America, you came to the DEL. You played in Iserlohn at first, and then you came to Berlin. What is your experience? What do you still have in mind about the German times?
Well, it's hard to sum up. My time in Iserlohn was good. But I will always relish my time here in Berlin. It was individually, and I think as a team, the last couple of years we didn't accomplish what we wanted. But I think I hope I left here better than when I got here, if that makes any sense. But I just tried to play my game and play my best, and a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But I don't know what else to say, Danny.
What will you remember from the Berlin times?
I think I have to say the fans. I have to say the support, not just here in Berlin, but on the road, wherever we were. There was always lots of fans, and the enthusiasm, and just the pure unconditional support that they share, and they show us every game is something I'll hold close.
Okay, Mark, thanks for that short travel through your career. Are there any special people you would like to thank, you would like to point out that supported you during the career you could be mentioning now? I'd like to thank obviously my parents first and foremost, my wife and Natasha, and my daughter Sloan and Roman, my son Roman, and obviously, but I also want to thank Brian Kilray, was my junior coach, and he was instrumental in taking my game to another level. Brian Sutter, who I had in Chicago for 3 years, was a coach that really believed in me. And I have to say Peter John Lee for bringing me here. Really was, I really thank him, and like I said, I want to thank him for being such a good person and obviously a great manager. Okay, last question in that interview. What are you going to do now after not being in the wintertime in the rinks anymore?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I will be in the rink somewhere. No, I'm going to look. I'm looking into something to stay in the game of hockey. I really I feel like the game has given me, essentially given me everything I have in my life. So I feel like I owe it to not just the game, but to myself to try and give myself a shot to stay in the game and to help develop some players. And I feel like I could be in some player development, and I have a lot of experiences that I can draw upon, and something that I think is a great asset. So so maybe I'll be back in the rinks before you know it.
Mark, thank you very much, and good luck for the future.
Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it.
Das war das Interview mit Mark Bell zu seinem Karriereende. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und tschüss.